this morning. We chat to her now on the phone. Good afternoon, Chriselda. Reports of looting coming in from the area. What's happening now?
Well, that's right, Krishni. The situation is still extremely tense here in Olievenhoutbosch. I think I've counted about 4 foreign-owned shops that have now been looted. There's tyres, burning tyres that are strewn all over the place at the moment, and running battles continue between police and protesters. Since this morning, you would recall that a memorandum of demand was handed over to the office of the MEC of Human Settlements, Paul Mashatile. He had sent his Deputy Director General here in this area to come and ensure that the residents' demands were given to them so that they were able to manage what has been happening in this area since this morning. I'm telling you, stones are being flung from every single corner of the area. Journalists themselves are also coming under fire in this particular area, as residents say they want the authorities in power to deal with the issue of crime, the issue of corruption, which they say is quite right with the handling of RDP houses, and are also saying that the councillors, at least 2 councillors in this area, should be recalled. Just a few minutes ago, running into an hour now, we saw some of the angry residents also go to one of the houses of the councillor, and basically police had to go and ensure that there was no vandalism there, because the community clearly is quite upset by some of these incidences that they say have not been handled by authorities. So it's absolute chaos here, running battles in this particular area. There are nyalas that are driving through every single street from the point where I can see at this point. So the situation doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon. And what we're seeing also is some concern from the foreign shop owners who basically come to this area, and once they came through, basically saw that their shops had been looted. So police really have their hands full trying to get the situation under control. It's not just this area where I am. It is spreading to different parts of Olievenhoutbosch. So police are really going to have to spread their resources around here to try and ensure that there isn't further looting, there isn't any further violence, and there isn't any further vandalism, the scenes that we've been seeing over the past couple of hours.
Chriselda, just on that note, how visible are police and security personnel on the ground? Do they have enough personnel to deal with the situation right now? And how are they coping in terms of crowd control, crowd management?
Well, I cannot say that they're coping at this stage, Kirshni. From this morning, we saw that these thousands of angry protesters, residents of Olievenhoutbosch, who had gathered. So what we've counted now is just several police nyalas that are driving through the streets. But to try and handle a crowd such as large as this is really going to prove to be difficult, because while you've got one crowd that gathers on one side of Olievenhoutbosch, there are also burning tyres on the other side of the very same area. So it's going to be very difficult for them to police. I certainly cannot say at this stage that I think they have enough resources to deal with the situation here, because the violence that we're seeing, and also the burning tyres and the looting, is taking place in various parts around Olievenhoutbosch.
Chriselda, very quickly before I let you go, this is not the first time we're seeing protests of this nature in this very same area. About a year ago, similar protests here turned ugly over this very same housing complaints. What can you tell us about the controversy around the housing allocation at this point? What are residents saying? What's the sense? What can you tell us?
Well, certainly what is clear at this stage, Kirshni, is that there is major discontent from residents with regard to the allocation of RDP houses. Their allegation then, as is now, is that those who are receiving RDP houses are not those who have been put on the list and have been waiting for so long to get some of the houses that have just been finished here in Olievenhoutbosch. Also accusations as well that some of the RDP houses that have not been complete, that were supposed to be complete at about this time, have not been completed because of the abuse of funds that were allocated to get those houses finished. So what also we saw this afternoon was that angry residents then went banging on the doors of those RDP houses. The occupants also told to get out of those homes. And essentially what we're seeing here is the very same problem that spread the violence then is exactly what is taking place in Olievenhoutbosch at this point. And another reassurance at this time, because the community has been calling for senior provincial government authorities to come and accept their memorandum of demand. That did happen, but they're saying they're only giving then the MEC's office, the MEC of Human Settlements, Paul Mashatile, 14 days in order for him to sort out what they say is a mess with regards to the allocation of RDP houses. And they're saying if that does not happen, then they will take to the streets again. But it certainly seems that the handing over of that memorandum this afternoon did not quell the violence at all, because from where I'm standing at the moment, almost everywhere where I am, community members are gathering around, burning tyres, and shops are being looted, and police are really having their hands full trying to ensure that they get the crowd to calm down. But I don't think that's going to happen. It certainly seems like we're going to be in this area much into this evening, as the residents are saying they're not going to back down.
Chriselda Lewis, our reporter on the line from Olievenhoutbosch, west of Pretoria, where service delivery protests, we understand, have taken a turn for the worst and become very ugly now, with 4 foreign-owned shops there being looted. Police are struggling to keep order. Now, we'll continue our rolling live coverage of the events that are unfolding in Olievenhoutbosch right now, so do stay locked on to the SABC News channel.